All right, in this lesson, lesson 2.8, we will be able to solve equations for given variables and use formulas to solve real-world problems. Begin by opening your books on page 4. All right, we're going to get started with lesson 2.8 in our books. Lesson 2.8 is known as literal equations, and so we will be solving equations for specific variables. Okay, in this video, we will be looking at the following vocabulary. Literal equation is an equation that involves several variables. You know this as a formula. Some examples of this are the circumference, c equals 2 times pi times r, or volume, length times width times height. You know all of this information already. We've talked about formulas before. What is important, though, is that you get these definitions down in your notes. You can pause the video at any point as I am going through these. So your solution, what's different from what we have done before when solving for a specific variable, will be a rewritten equation. There should not be just a number like y equals 5 or x equals -10. We will end up working with another equation once we're done. So for example, if we start with y equals 3x plus 2, our answer might be x equals 3y minus 5 or something like that. That's not an accurate example answer, but it will end up being something along those lines. We use the same steps that we would when we are solving for a particular variable. Okay, we are going to work on solving this equation here. 4m minus 3n equals 8, and our goal is to solve it for m. So there are 4 steps that we are going to do when solving this. We're going to start with our original equation, 4m minus 3n equals 8. The first thing we want to do, just as when we are solving regular equations, is we want to isolate the m. So think about moving anything that is not attached to the m to the other side. So we are going to add 3n to both sides. This is going to give us 4m equals 8 plus 3n. So that's what it looks like when you simplify it. There are no like terms we can combine on either side here, so we are going to continue on. Remember, our goal is to get this m by itself. And right now, the 4 and the m are attached by multiplication, so we are going to divide both sides by 4. When we do this and simplify, we are left with m equals 8 plus 3n divided by 4. This is our solution. Our answer is not going to be a clean number like y equals 2. It is another form of the equation solved for a particular variable. You could take this a step further and rewrite this as m equals 8 divided by 4 plus 3 divided by 4n. And simplify the 8 and the 4. So that would give us m equals 2 plus 3/4 n. Either way, your 2 solutions are going to be 8 plus 3n divided by 4 equals m, or m equals 2 plus 3/4 n. So your goal when you're doing these is to isolate the particular variable given by the opposite operation. In this next example, you can see that we have variables on both sides of the equation, and so we are going to treat this once again just like we did before, by our goal being to isolate particular variables. So in this case, d plus 5c equals 3d minus 1. So here, our goal is to get anything that is not a d to the other side of the equation. And because we have two sets of d's, we're going to deal with those last. But what we are going to do is add the 1 to either side. It's going to give us 3 terms on the left-hand side. It's going to give us d plus 5c plus 1 equals 3d. The reason why I chose to do this is because it's going to give us a positive d when we are working this way. It is okay if your instinct is to subtract 3d to begin with. No matter how you choose to move things around here, as long as you do it correctly, you and I should end up with the same answer. So once we have moved the 1 to the left-hand side, we are going to take the d on the left-hand side and subtract it. Remember that there is an invisible 1 in front of that d. So when we subtract, we get 5c plus 1 equals 3 minus 1, or 2d. Okay, from there, we are going to try to isolate the d by dividing both sides by 2. This gives us 5c plus 1 all divided by 2 equals d. So here the variable ends up on the right-hand side, but that's okay because we can flip it over. And when we flip it over, we just want to make sure that we keep everything in the same order. So we have d going to the left-hand side, 5c plus 1 all divided by 2. We just did a little flip-flop there and it works. So before I turn you loose, you're going to try one of these on your own. 5a plus c equals negative 8a. And our goal here is to solve for a. So what I want you to do is pause the video, and then I will go through and do the problem out, explaining my steps, and we will get the same answer hopefully, and then you will be able to move on and do your independent practice. Okay, so hopefully by now you should have an answer to this problem. And the way that I would approach this, 5a plus c equals negative 8a. Inevitably, I'm going to have to deal with some negatives. So I'm going to keep my negative 8a on the right-hand side for now. And I'm going to subtract 5a from both sides. I get c equals negative 8a minus 5a. That gives me c equals negative 13a. So in order to finish this, we divide both sides by negative 13. That's going to leave the a here and get c divided by negative 13 equals a. So as you can see, I actually have a mistake here in my answer key. And the reason why I did this was because this would be what would happen if you made a mistake with your subtraction here, with your negative 8a minus 5a. So be very careful. And this is actually negative 13a. So be careful with your negatives because negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13, not negative 3. So hopefully your answer that you got in the final part should be c divided by negative 13 equals a. Through every part of this unit, you have the ability to write down questions that you might have for each topic. I encourage you now, if you are working through some problems and practice or have a question, write it down in the questions section. It's at the beginning of your booklet. You will be reminded of this for this unit. After that, that should be something you do automatically. My goal will be for you to be able to answer your questions amongst your peers and with me in class. Good luck, and you can start the practice now.